Okay, TikTok, here we break down a false petition filed in New York State Court to receive an order of protection, filed by a petitioner to get a no contact order of protection against an ex boyfriend she was trying to seek revenge on. Filing false reports is a sick practice, and here we try to break it down to expose this woman and the lies she told. Now, here she is to the right, and if you look at the second paragraph, she clearly states that she was never physically abused, and she thanks this agency and its founder for all the support they have given her as a victim of domestic violence. The first page you're going to see here is the actual trial date of this woman being on the stand in testimony 2 weeks ago. Now, during this testimony, when confronted with the very petition that you just saw, she is forced to deny the petition because of all of the accusations of physical domestic violence that are on that petition. By admitting to any of those accusations of physical domestic violence, she could be contradicted by the second photo you saw with her and the founder of Warm NYC, where she openly admits that she was never physically abused. Yet in her application for an order of protection, you'll clearly see that her ex-boyfriend was charged with numerous offenses of domestic violence like strangulation, second and third degree assault, forcible touching, and numerous other aspects of domestic violence. But here she clearly denies filing this petition. When asked on the record if she filed the petition, in her hand, the petition that was just shown to you in the second photo in this video, this woman clearly states for the entire court to record, no, she did not file this petition, and she denies filing the petition so she does not have to own the fact that all of these aspects of physical domestic violence that was just stated, like a second and third degree assault, strangulation, forcible touching, forcible obstruction of breathing, and every other physical offense of domestic violence would be contradicted by the very statement right here where she says she was never physically abused. But there again, you see she has checked numerous acts of being abused, and here again she admits she was never physically abused. This woman has used social media to create a platform. Breaking up is not a crime, even though she is the one committing the crime, because she has had her ex-boyfriend falsely arrested numerous times for an order of protection she filed lying when she was discovered to have robbed him. She's even created a movement by this, by trying to create merchandise to support her false position as a domestic violence victim, clearly mocking the domestic violence program herself by claiming to be a victim she knows she is not. Standing with true victims, women who have suffered and gone through the journey and actually had to endure abuse and suffering. This woman pretends to be amongst the crowd as a victim and a fellow advocate of domestic violence, a fellow survivor, knowing she has never survived anything but the loss of her ex-boyfriend. She was even supported by Staten Island's Richmond County District Attorney's Office, who put this woman on the stage to speak as a victim of domestic violence 3 months after she was convicted in a New Jersey trial of multiple offenses of domestic violence. Why? Because she robbed her boyfriend for the dog here. Clearly, you see, her boyfriend asks for the dog back, and she tells him to surrender the company that they both owned 50% of. They each owned 50% of the company. She robbed him for his dog and tried to use the dog to make him sign over his shares of the business without paying him out or giving him anything. And for proof of the truth of our statement, here are the shares of the business where you see both she and he who are 50% owners of this business. Here you see that this woman says her breakup was because of the loss of the dog due to a failed couples counseling, which we have definitively proven is a lie by the text messages exposed 3 scenes before. We're going to let you see the text message again so you know there was no failed couple counseling. But her robbing her ex-boyfriend and trying to force him to surrender his shares of the company for the dog she robbed him for. The very dog that she is using on social media to pretend that it was illegally used to repossess a company. Look at it right there. The ex-boyfriend was clearly owner of the company. You clearly saw in the text message how she told him to surrender the company for the animal. She accused him of all of these numerous offenses of physical domestic violence because she knew if she did, she would receive an order of protection that she could use against him to keep the animal and keep everything away from him. The sick part about this is how this young woman has taken to platform modeling herself as a victim of domestic violence, when true victims of domestic violence suffer every day and have to deal with the nightmares and the abuse and the trauma that comes from being harassed by someone you no longer want. Stop false claims of domestic violence.